Hello, I'm Georgie Pitts, and I'm going to be discussing the Pueblo Revolt. What was the Pueblo Revolt, also known as the Pope Rebellion? The definition: an effective revolt of Pueblo Indians in New Mexico under the leadership of Pope against the Spaniards in 1680, particularly targeting symbols of Christianity. They succeeded in killing two-thirds of the Spanish missionaries and driving the Spaniards out of New Mexico. While English colonies in Chesapeake grew and prospered with the tobacco trade, the northern outposts of the Spanish Empire in New Mexico and Florida stagnated. Only about 1,500 Spaniards lived in Florida, and roughly twice as many inhabited New Mexico. Yet both colonies required regular deliveries of goods and large subsidies. One royal governor complained that no Spaniard comes to plow and plow, but only to eat and loaf. Instead of attracting settlers and growing crops for export, New Mexico and Florida appealed to Spanish missionaries, seeking to convert Indians to Christianity. In both colonies, Indians outnumbered Spaniards 10 or 20 to 1. Royal officials hoped that the missionaries' effort would pacify the Indians and be a relatively cheap way to preserve Indian footholds in North America. The missionaries baptized thousands of Indians in Spanish North America during the 17th century, but they also planted the seeds of Indian uprising and Spanish rule. Dozens of missionaries came to Florida and New Mexico as one announced to free the Indians from the miserable slavery of the demon and from the obscure darkness of their idolatry. The missionaries followed the royal instructions that the Indians should be taught to live in a civilized manner, clothed and wearing shoes, giving the use of bread, linen, horses, cattle, tools, and weapons, and all the rest of Spain has had. In effect, the missionaries sought to convert the Indians not just to Christianity, but also to segregate Spaniards. The missionaries supervised the building of scores of Catholic churches across Florida and New Mexico. Adopting practices common elsewhere in New Spain, they forced the Indians to both to construct these churches and to pay tribute to in the form of food, blanket, and other goods. Although the missionaries congratulated themselves on the many Indians they converted, their Corbie method subverted their goals. A missionary reported that an Indian in New Mexico asked him if we missionaries are Christians, cause so much harm and violence to Indians, why should they become Christians? In 1680, the native leader Pope organized the Pueblo Revolt, ordering his followers as one recount to break up and burn the images of the Holy Christ, the Virgin Mary, and other saints, the crosses, and everything pertaining to Christianity. During the revolt, Indians desecrated churches, killed two-thirds of the Spanish missionaries, and drove the Spaniards out of New Mexico to the present-day El Paso, Texas. The Spaniards managed to return to New Mexico by the end of the 17th century, but only by curtailing the missionaries and reducing labor exploitation. Florida Indians never mounted a unified attack on the Spanish rule, but they too organized sporadic uprising and resisted conversion, causing the Spanish official to report by the end of the 17th century that the law of God and the preaching of the Holy Gospel have now ceased. And that was the religion and revolt of the Spanish borderland. That was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening.